This is the worst planting mistake I've ever made. It just cost us so much money. Say good morning. Are you ready for a day of planting?
She's 24 years old, boots permanently caked in Nebraska mud, hauling debt heavier than any tractor on her land. To her 3 million followers, Laura Wilson is the dream. A radiant, fifth-generation farmer who turned a pandemic side project into a social media empire. But behind those golden fields and glowing harvests, the rumors have been swirling, louder, darker, and harder to ignore by the day. Money trouble, a walkout, a crumbling marriage. So, is any of it actually true? The rumors nobody can stop talking about. Let's be real for a second, the internet does not sleep when it smells drama, and Laura Farms has been at the center of some seriously juicy speculation over the past couple of years. We're talking multiple storylines running simultaneously. Financial ruin? People were saying it. Her hired hand walking off the job mid-season? That one actually happened? On camera. And the big one, the divorce rumor that rocked her comment sections and lit up suspicious Facebook groups like wildfire in early 2025? Here's the thing about rumors, though. They don't always need facts to spread. They just need hungry audiences and a whisper. And when you've built a following of over 3 million people across YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, the whispers get very, very loud. Let's start with what everyone kept saying, that Laura and her husband Grant were done, finished. That the ring had allegedly disappeared from her finger in videos, that the farm was allegedly falling apart at the seams, and that behind all those cheerful harvest vlogs was a woman living on the edge of a collapse. Multiple fake accounts started circulating messages, claiming to be Laura, encouraging fans to DM her because she'd supposedly just gone through a massive breakup. It was messy. It was manipulative, and it spread. Then there were the financial whispers, people speculating that Laura was drowning in debt, that the farm wasn't profitable, that the YouTube money was propping up a sinking ship. And honestly, some of those whispers were not entirely off base, though not for the reasons people assumed. And then there were the operational disasters, actual, verified, on-camera chaos. A hired worker who quit without warning. An insurance company that allegedly failed her when she needed them most. A bridge. Yes, a literal bridge collapsed on her property. And harvesting in snow. Because apparently farming hadn't already thrown enough at this girl. So what's the truth? What did Laura actually confirm? And more importantly, why does it matter? Well, buckle up, because we're about to unpack all of it. But first, before we get to the carnage, let's talk about where it all started. Because how did a 19-year-old with an iPhone and zero real farming experience build one of the most watched agricultural channels on the internet? A dream built from determination and a whole lot of debt. April 24th, 2020. The world is in lockdown. Most 19-year-olds are doom-scrolling and sourdough baking. Laura Carlson, soon to be Wilson, picks up her iPhone 8 and films herself farming. That's it. That's the origin story. No ring light, no production team, no script. Just a girl, some Nebraska dirt, and an audience that didn't know it was waiting for her yet. She'd convinced her grandfather to let her rent his land in Hamilton County and start growing corn and soybeans on her own. With no equipment of her own and limited real-world solo farming experience, she leaned into what she did have. Her family's fifth-generation farming knowledge, an authentic personality, and an almost reckless willingness to document every single thing, including the mistakes. And people lost their minds over it. Overnight success is an overused phrase, but Laura's growth was genuinely explosive. Her first video now has over 1.3 million views. She moved from an iPhone 8 to an iPhone XS Max, and from iMovie edits to a channel that would eventually rack up over 140 million views. From YouTube, it bled into TikTok, 14 million likes, Facebook, Instagram, and beyond. But here's where the gossip gets spicy, because behind every gorgeous wheat field thumbnail is a financial reality that would make most people's stomach drop. Land in Nebraska runs around $4,000 per acre. Laura currently farms 160 acres. She owns 40 of them and rents the other 120. The equipment alone, tractors, combines, seed drills, fuel, maintenance, costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. And all of it, the bulk of it, is financed, which means debt, which means interest, which means that even in a good season, one bad harvest, one broken machine, one insurance failure, and you're staring into an abyss. So yes, Laura is estimated to be worth somewhere between $450,000 and over $2 million, depending on who you ask, factoring in land, equipment, YouTube ad revenue, sponsorships, merchandise, Patreon, and Cameo. She reportedly pulls in anywhere from $10,000 to $13,000 per month. That sounds like a lot, until you realize how much of it is going straight back into the machine that keeps the farm alive. She married Grant Wilson in December 2020, the same year she started farming solo and launched her channel. He became her business partner, her co-pilot, her full-time farmhand, and the second face of Laura Farms. Every decision they make, every seed they plant, every piece of equipment they finance is a shared risk. Romantic? Sure. Also completely terrifying. But here's what most people don't realize. This all-American farming success story runs deeper than viral videos and follower counts. So who actually is Laura Wilson? And what kind of roots do you need to do what she's doing? Born in the dirt, the roots nobody talks about. May 11th, 2001. Laura Carlson was born in Marquette Village, Hamilton County, Nebraska, into a family where farming isn't a lifestyle choice, it's a legacy. We're talking about a dynasty that stretches back over a century. Her great-great-grandparents packed their lives into whatever they could carry, emigrated from Sweden in 1910, and built Carlson Farms from the ground up. 115 years later, the farm has grown to 2,000 acres of corn, soybeans, and a 150-head cow-calf herd. Her father, Cale Carlson, farms and runs his own YouTube channel, Lee A.D. Farms. Her mother, Megan Nelson Carlson, helps run the operation. She has 4 siblings, Ethan, Amanda, Adam, and David. Laura didn't grow up watching farming from a distance. She grew up in it, detasseling corn as a kid, which, in her own words, is not for the faint of heart. She's been getting her hands dirty since she was 13. But here's the twist that makes Laura's story more interesting than just girl inherits farm. She wasn't on a guaranteed path into the family operation. In fact, she was more focused on academics and sports through her early teens. She attended Nebraska Christian High School in Central City, went to UNL, and graduated from Southeast Community College with a degree in business. Laura Wilson is not just a farmer. She's a calculated, educated woman who made a very deliberate choice to plant her flag in the soil. That deliberateness shows. She didn't just stumble into farming at 19, she approached it like a startup, She sought out her grandfather's land. She negotiated. She planned. She started with absolutely nothing in terms of her own operation and built it piece by piece. The family farming knowledge was there as a foundation, but everything else, the equipment, the rented acreage, the audience, the brand, she built herself. There's something almost poetic about the fact that the great-great-granddaughter of Swedish immigrants who came to America with nothing is now one of the most watched farmers in the country. But let's not get too warm and fuzzy, because the same fierce determination that built Laura Farms also put her directly in the path of some seriously rough waters. And those waters? They came fast. So the legacy is real, the ambition is real, the brand is real. But what happens when the real world decides to test all three at the same time? When everything started to fall apart, all at once. Let's talk about the part the algorithm loved, the chaos. Because between the wholesome harvest content and the tractor selfies, Laura's channel started delivering something else entirely. Unscripted, unfiltered agricultural disaster, season after brutal season. First up, the worker walkout. And yes, it was as dramatic as it sounds. Laura had brought on a hired hand to help manage the workload during an especially demanding season. Running a 160-acre farming operation while simultaneously producing content for millions of followers is not a one- or two-person job. So when that worker up and quit, suddenly, no warning, just gone. The ripple effect was immediate and crushing. The workload doubled overnight. Laura and Grant were left scrambling, absorbing responsibilities that had been split 3 ways during one of the most labor-intensive periods of the farming calendar. The episode became a multi-part series on her channel simply because the fallout was so significant. Her audience watched, gripped, as she kept going. Then came the insurance nightmare, and this one had people furious on her behalf. After suffering real, measurable crop losses, Laura filed a claim. The insurance adjuster came out, assessed the damage, and essentially, in her words, dropped the ball. The field was totaled by the insurance company's own assessment, but the payout they were offering didn't match what she felt she was owed. She went public with her frustration, documenting the back and forth on camera in a way that turned her crop insurance saga into a community rallying point. Her comment sections flooded with farmers sharing nearly identical horror stories. It stopped being about Laura alone. It became a referendum on how insurance companies treat young, independent farmers. The bridge collapse on her property sounds almost too cinematic to be real. And yet, there it was. A literal bridge on her land gave way, cutting off direct access to certain fields. During harvest season, when time is money and every extra mile driven is fuel burned and hours lost, it added logistical chaos to an already stretched operation and became yet another obstacle she simply had no choice but to work around. And then, the snow harvest. Because apparently the universe wasn't done. Forced to bring in crops under snowfall, quality took a hit. Lower quality crops mean lower prices at market. Lower prices mean the already razor-thin margins get even thinner. For anyone keeping score, worker gone, insurance fighting her, bridge collapsed, now harvesting in the snow. All within the span of a single punishing season. The physical and mental cost of all this is staggering. Laura is up at 5 a.m. daily. She works 8 to 12 plus hours in the field. She edits and uploads content on top of that. While her college classmates were navigating early careers and weekend brunches, she was refinancing equipment and fighting insurance adjusters. Now, through all of this chaos and pressure, what was happening behind closed doors with the most important partnership on the farm? Because the rumors about Laura and Grant didn't come from nowhere? The question the internet won't drop. Early 2025, and on the surface, nothing seems off. The uploads are steady. The tractors are rolling. The sunsets still hit just right. But if you've ever spent time in the comments section of Laura Wilson's videos, you already know that's where the real story starts to shift. At first, it's subtle. Wait, is she wearing her ring here? Why hasn't Grant been in the last couple of videos? She looks different, like not just tired, emotionally tired. And just like that, the internet does what it does best. It spirals. Within weeks, the whispers turn into full-blown speculation. Divorce rumors, breakup theories, strangers dissecting every frame like it's evidence in a courtroom drama. Suddenly, people who have never met her or her husband are speaking with absolute certainty about what's happening behind closed doors. But here's where things get messy, and honestly, a little disturbing. These rumors didn't come from any interview. Not from Laura, not from Grant, not from any credible source. They came from fake accounts, suspicious Facebook groups, pages built specifically to stir drama and farm engagement. Some even went as far as impersonating Laura, using her name and face to message fans directly, claiming she had gone through a heartbreaking breakup and needed support. Let that sink in for a second. It wasn't a concern. It was manipulation dressed up as empathy, and unfortunately, it worked. People started pointing to evidence, and if you can call it that, it was flimsy at best. A missing ring in one clip, Grant not appearing in another, a feeling that something was off. That's it. But that's the danger of parasocial relationships at this level. When hundreds of thousands of people feel like they know you, they also feel entitled to interpret your life, even your marriage, based on a 60-second video. Now, here's the reality. Laura Wilson and her husband Grant celebrated their 4th wedding anniversary in December 2024. They posted about it. Smiling photos, real moments, no signs of a relationship falling apart. So as of everything actually verified, the divorce rumors are completely false. But, and this part matters, the pressure people think they're seeing, that part is very real. Because Laura and Grant aren't just a couple. They're business partners in one of the most unpredictable, high-risk industries out there. Farming isn't 9 to 5. There's no leave work at the office when your home, your income, and your future are all tied to the same land. Every decision affects both of them. Every bad season hits both of them. Every risk is shared. There's no off switch. And that kind of life? It can test even the strongest relationships. So no, the internet's version of their marriage isn't accurate. But the truth? It's still complicated. And it raises an even bigger question. If the rumors about her relationship aren't real, then what exactly did Laura finally confirm that has everyone talking? Laura breaks her silence. And yes, it's all true. Here's the thing about Laura Wilson that makes her such a compelling figure. She doesn't deny the hard stuff. She never has. The brand was never built on perfection. It was built on authenticity. And in a media landscape drowning in curated highlight reels and perfectly lit aspirational content, her willingness to show the mess is exactly what made people fall in love with her channel in the first place. So when she confirmed the rumors, not all of them, but the ones that actually mattered, she did it in the most Laura way possible. On camera, without fanfare, with the pragmatic directness of someone who simply doesn't have time to be anything but honest. Yes, the worker walked out. Confirmed. Yes, the insurance company failed her, and she had to fight for what she was owed. Confirmed. Yes, there was a bridge collapse. Yes, she harvested in snow. Yes, the finances are as complicated and as terrifying as they look. She confirmed, publicly, that there are seasons where doing everything right still isn't enough to guarantee you come out ahead. One moment in particular hit different. A young fan told Laura she wanted to be just like her when she grew up. And instead of lighting up with the joy you'd expect from a social media success story in that moment, Laura felt something more complicated. Because she knows what's behind the camera. She knows the debt, the exhaustion, the 5 a.m. alarms, the insurance battles, and the weight of a decision-making partnership where every wrong call has real, lasting financial consequences. What she also confirmed, and this is the part that gets overlooked in the gossip cycle, is the power of community. When the Rempel family, another farming family in her orbit, faced their own devastating crisis, Laura didn't just scroll past, she organized. Dozens of farmers showed up to help with their harvest for free. She led fundraising efforts. In the middle of her own operational chaos, she showed up for someone else. That's not content. That's character. And the divorce? The fake accounts? The manufactured drama? She addressed those too, calling out the impersonators, warning her audience about fraudulent messages, and asking fans to report suspicious accounts. She didn't spiral. She didn't give the rumors the emotional real estate they were trying to occupy. She acknowledged them, corrected the record, and kept moving. The bigger truth that Laura's story confirms isn't just about her. It's about what young farmers are up against in a system that increasingly favors large corporations over small independent operators. Farm income is dropping. Land values are unstable. Young people are abandoning agriculture at alarming rates. Laura and Grant are fighting an uphill battle in a system not built for them to win, and they're doing it with cameras rolling, so the world can watch. At 24, Laura Wilson is not a cautionary tale. She's not a fairy tale either. She's something far more interesting. A fully awake, fully exhausted, fully committed farmer who chose to let the world see her reality. Cropped fields, collapsed bridges, difficult seasons and all. And she's still there. Still farming, still filming, still pushing forward. And that, right there, that stubborn, quiet, unglamorous persistence might be the most dramatic thing about her yet. So there you have it. The real, raw, unfiltered truth about Laura Farms. The rumors? Some were lies, some were real. And the ones that were real. She looked straight at them and kept going anyway. At 24, she's carrying more than most people twice her age ever will. And somehow, she's still showing up. If this video hits differently for you, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell. Because trust us, the next one is going to be even wilder. You really do not want to miss it.